Howdy, Aggs. Welcome to Aggie Growth Hacks, the podcast sponsored by the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M, where we help entrepreneurs improve their business, connect with other Aggie entrepreneurs, and support one another. I'm your host, Greg Martin, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your co-host, Chris Hunter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998. Whoop!
Well, we got a little story for Aggs. Mr. James Carter, Stephen F. Austin class of 71, and his son, Joe Carter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2005, joined us today to talk about Carter Enterprises. Carter Enterprises is a company with over 50 locations of fast service restaurants with franchises ranging from Pizza Hut, Subway, to their very own Carter's Burgers. This family-owned company is founded on the principles of hard work and treating people right.
So pass it back and listen up to James and Joe as they share some really good bull.
Well, welcome back, Aggs. I can't tell you how excited I am for this episode. Mr. Carter, Joe Carter with Carter Enterprises, thank you so much for joining us today. I first met Mr. Carter probably 5 or 6 years ago when we were both asked to guest lecture at an entrepreneur class at A&M. And I'll tell you what, I think I learned more from Mr. Carter than the students did that day. And he was so gracious. And then a couple of years later to be able to do the same thing with Joe. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your story and your willingness to tell us and let us learn from you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
We're glad to be here, Greg. Thank you for asking us. Appreciate it.
Well, we all love Texas A&M. Mr. Carter, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about your experience of going to A&M, because you're not an A&M undergrad, are you?
I'm not. You know, it's interesting. I would have gone to A&M. I loved A&M, but the problem was back in 1967, 68, there were just no female students at Texas A&M. And I didn't see any opportunity there for me to grow in that area of my life.
As a young man.
So I chose to go to Stephen F. Austin, where there were 3 girls to 1 guy. And I had a better opportunity there maybe to meet the opposite sex. So that's why I didn't go to A&M. I love A&M, and 3 of my kids have gone there and got degrees from there. And I love the school, but that's why I didn't go. But that's the truth, Greg. I hope that's okay.
That is the best. We're awesome. Speaking truth here.
Right. That's awesome. I think your prospects would be way better nowadays, I think.
Oh, no question. I agree.
So, Joe, your A&M experience was a little bit different.
Yeah, it was for sure.
So what do you miss about not being a student on campus anymore?
I miss the rec center a lot. I love playing basketball there, you know, and the weight room, stuff like that. It was just so fun, you know. And but yeah, I just miss the you know, the football games, the basketball games, just the Aggie spirit, you know, just feeling like you're part of that community. It was a special place for sure.
Awesome, love it. All right, so one of the things that I love about this podcast about Aggie Growth Hacks is that I get to find out what all of these Aggie entrepreneurs' journeys are, right? I love the entrepreneurial journey. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey and, you know, how did y'all start it? Where are y'all now? And why are you passionate about it?
Sure. You know, that's a great question. And, you know, for me, I grew up in small town of Madisonville, which is about 40 miles from Bryan College Station. And my parents owned a grocery store and a small little hamburger shop in Madisonville. And in the hamburger shop, they made fresh hamburgers every day and would eat there all the time. It was a small place and it didn't seat but about 20 people, but it was a great place to eat. So I grew up loving to go there and eat. And my mother loved to cook and was a great cook. And she let me cook a lot with us. I enjoyed cooking all my life. And so as I went to college and graduated, I came back and said, I want to get my own business. I said, I think we can take that little hamburger place and take to the Interstate 45 when it came through and make a bigger place. So we chose to do that. In 1973, my mom and dad helped me get my first loan. I was able to get a loan from the bank and open the business up in 73. And with the goal for me, you know, I wanted to be able to put out a really good product. I wanted to have burgers that were never frozen. I wanted to grind the meat in the back of the house and pat them out by hand. And I wanted to serve Bluebell ice cream. I want to have a good ice cream. And so we chose.
That's a recipe for success right there.
No question.
Right.
You know, and so we did that. And, you know, when we started with the fresh burgers and all our vegetables were done fresh. We did fresh everything pretty much back then. And it was really exciting to get that going. I just love cooking, and I love to go out and ask people how their food was. I feel like there's a good chance it might be pretty good. I wanted to I did not mind asking somebody, is everything okay? If it wasn't okay, I would make it okay, but that's kind of how we started, in 73, and it'll be 50 years for us next year. It'll be in business. It's been a long time, but
congratulations.
I kind of realized that maybe we had something good, because I opened store number 2 in Fairfield, Texas, a few years later. And I could just tell that people really came to the business, and I could tell that our hard effort and hard work had paid off a little bit for us. So that was the beginning for us, I think, is to see that the fruits of our labor had been fairly successful. And I was very thankful and blessed that we were able to get started that way. It was a lot of hard work, but it was because I think we had a good product and people appreciated that. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit of history of kind of how we began.
So can you tell us, so from those beginnings, where are you now? What by the end of the year, because your company's growing and expanding. I mean, tell us a little bit about what Carter Enterprises does right now.
Well, we did the burger deal for a long time, and I really that was my first love and my passion was that. But as I got married in 1977 and started having a family, I realized I might need to expand a little bit more. We had 6 kids, and so we decided to grow some, and so we decided to grow outside the burger side, and we chose to get into different franchises. And I began franchising, back in the early 80s, and we got involved with Pizza Hut and with Subway and Church's Fried Chicken. We got involved with those franchises. And that was kind of a starting point for us to grow some more. And so we've expanded those businesses over the years. And so today we operate, several Pizza Huts and Subways and the burger shops. And that's kind of what we specialize in. And my 3 oldest sons, work in the business with me. And that's a real blessing for me personally to have them along beside me. It's been really great for us.
I know that I've talked with Joe a little bit with you, just kind of as you're expanding. And I think that you said earlier that by the end of the year, you're continuing to expand maybe in a couple other Pizza Hut restaurants to be able to kind of bring those into different communities. Right. But you're also continuously seeking improvement. How do you make the customer experience better? Whether that be making sure that the quality of food is really good. And I love how you've got the breakdown of the different jobs of, I think one of your sons, like that's his main job is the quality control, right. Making sure you've got that and constantly improving. So my question is, as a family business that can really rely on the experience that Mr. Carter has, how do you deal with defining strategy, or where the company goes, or how do you set the goals for that?
I'll let Joe speak to that because he's involved. My role is shifted somewhere. I'm 72 years old now, and my role more is shifted now into looking for locations and trying to secure financing for my boys. But they kind of run the part of the operations more than I do now. Joe can speak to that better than I can, probably.
Yeah, I think for us, we've really grown recently with Pizza Hut a lot. It's been a great brand to be a part of, and we're really excited to be a part of it. And yeah, we're hopefully going to have a couple more, stores opened up by the end of the year, but when the pandemic happened, we had to just see how it played out, and pizza was definitely a great thing to have in our portfolio, during that time. And so Subway is really doing well now. The volume is starting to pick up, and we're learning how to work with the demands of the business, how it shifted, with people going from lockdown to getting out and feeling more comfortable, kind of being more, back to normal, so to speak, but yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, we're growing in each one of our brands, we're always, like you said, seeking to improve and wanting to be, operating at a really high level. And I think that's really a testament to a lot of the people that we work with. We just work with great people, and we have people that have worked for our family for 50 years, just as long as we've been, in business. So it really is a neat culture, a neat atmosphere. And it's a family, a family place. So we appreciate the legacy that, our dad has definitely, and our dad and mom honestly have helped us, have shown us the way, for sure.
I love that. So I love that you've got a multi-generational, business here that you're able to pass down. I love how that's built out. So let me ask, how many locations do you have of not just Pizza Huts or Subways or your burger shops, or how many total are you guys managing right now?
Yeah, we'll be close to 50 at the end of the year.
Congratulations. What a year, right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, that's cool. So what has been your biggest challenge then in managing that growth, right? Because I imagine that as you add new stores, and especially during the pandemic, I imagine, but as you add new stores, what's been the biggest challenge that's gone along with that, and how are you overcoming it?
Go ahead, Jim.
I would say recently the biggest challenge now is we're dealing with inflation. We're trying to figure out how to price everything correctly where we don't run business off by going up too much. That's definitely a challenge. But I would say for us, again, it's all about people. And we're blessed with great people that we work with, and I think that's because our fathers showed us how to take care of people. And if we have the right people, then we feel like we can grow, and we don't really have a concern necessarily with going to a town and operating the business. We have more of a concern of, can we cash flow it, so to speak, but it's not a situation where are we going to be able to find the people to run it, because we feel like it's neat to see people that work with our company that start as a dishwasher or a cashier and they get promoted to shift leader, to manager, to supervisor, our director of operations right now was a dishwasher for us, so it's just neat to see the opportunities that people have in our company. And so we're excited to grow to let those people have opportunities, and then we hope that we can better the community, that we go into when we open the store up. So I would say it's just, can we make it cash flow, is our biggest struggle, but we have the people, we're excited to grow from that standpoint for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that is a huge strategic advantage because, quite frankly, you're the first entrepreneur in a long time that we've asked that question to, and people has not been their biggest challenge. And I think that just the Carter mentality is really what sets you apart, because you're part of some of the strongest franchises in the world, and so obviously they give you operational guidelines, and so this is how you make a meat lover's pizza. This is how you make a meatball sub. Mm-hmm. If you're with my adoring son, it's meatballs, cucumbers, black olives, and ranch dressing. Don't forget the ranch dressing. It's disgusting, but he loves it. But it's the Carter difference that says, okay, how do we grow? So can you tell us a little bit about your strategy? Because I think that your strategy is really unique. What are the types of communities that you guys thrive in?
Well, I think just speaking of that, for me personally, I know that my faith is a big part of my life. I don't mind sharing that with you guys. It's very important to me. And looking back over what is important, I think that I at an early age, I wanted to be able to love my neighbor as myself. I wanted to be kind to people. I wanted to work hard. And to me, that was kind of my mantra as I started in business. Those are three very important things to me: was work hard, be kind to people, and love people as I love myself. Very important. I think we had that was kind of the mindset that I had when I started, and I've worked very hard to always be a man of my word and of high integrity. It was very important to me, and for people to see that if I tell somebody something, I need to keep my word. I need to do what I say I'm going to do. And I try to raise my boys under that same, just to know that that's what's important to us here in our business, and to take care of our employees. I think that's been very important, and to give back to people. It's just always, we got to make money to stay in business, but also it's important to give that back to your community and give it back to your employees. We try to always do that. That's very important to us, and it always has been. And I see my boys take it to the next level. I really have, and I really appreciate that. Just always wanted to help people who have a big need, and that's great. So that's a little bit of history I can share with you about that too, which is important to me and to my boys as well.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So one of the things that we talk about here on Aggie Growth Hacks is our big, hairy, audacious goals, right? What's y'all's big, hairy, audacious goal, or BHAG?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we want to grow Texas burger. I think that's the big goal that we've got. And so we're working on how we can do that. And I think in order for us to do that, we have to break it down and then build it back up. And we're going through that process now. But we feel like it's really cool to hear my dad talk about when he first started and kind of just the vision that he had. And I love hearing those stories. He left out. He at one point he was the single biggest dipper of Bluebell ice cream, correct?
Well, I mean, years ago, and at one point Bluebell ice cream wasn't everywhere, so I went out and bought a truck, and we would actually deliver Bluebell ice cream to towns that didn't have it in our own truck. So I'd go to Brenham and pick up a load of ice cream and take it to some of these towns where they weren't going yet. Now everybody has got Bluebell, but back then, not everybody had Bluebell, so people would flock there to get that Bluebell ice cream. So we were their biggest user of a hand dipped ice cream back in the middle 70s or the early 80s. But that all changed, but over time. But at one time we were, and that's a fun deal. But getting that truck was pretty cool. We take it around, which was great.
Our goal is we want to reclaim that title. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure we'll reclaim that title, but anyway, that's what it was. That was a pretty fun deal back then in the early.
Man, it sure would be a delicious journey going along that way.
So. It was a great route, man. People would drive around. There's a Bluebell truck. He's got some ice cream, So.
So do you think Subway would matter if you got a little cooler and just kind of added that?
I don't know. That probably wouldn't work. But
I mean, you give them their cut of the sales, so it's all good.
That's right. Oh man.
Well, thank y'all so much for sharing your history and your background. So this is a super special lightning round because we're going to get a 2-for-1 for every one of these questions. So gentlemen, real simple rules. Lightning round, answer your answers 30 seconds or less. We'll just kind of blow through these. But for both of y'all, what is y'all's favorite hack? This could be a business hack, it could be a personal hack. What's something that you do that's impactful to you that our listeners need to know about?
I think for me personally, I think learning is a never-ending journey. And I think life teaches lessons, to live every day just by what we can learn. I don't ever want to quit learning. I think it's so important to learn every day. And so to me, that's probably my business hack, I'd say, is always continue to learn, never give up, continue to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah, for me, it would be I want to have the same routine every day. I want to continue to look at my habits and refine them and improve them. And I never want to stop changing up how I can improve my habits. But in a perfect world, the same day, every day.
Yep.
Love it.
Maximizing it. Yep.
Okay. So what is the best advice you've ever been given and bonus points for how you applied it?
For me, probably as a young man, just to learn to always treat people the way you'd want to be treated. So when I got in business, I realized the best way for me to operate would be able to lead by example. So if I want to show somebody how to clean the bathrooms in the restaurant, just don't say go clean them, but actually go physically show them. That's what I would do. I would go in the bathroom, take an employee, say, here's what I want you to do, do it exactly this way. So to me, that was the best advice I ever got was to be able to actually, show by example. And that's a big deal for me.
Yeah, and for me, it's I'm in an organization called EO, and in EO you can't give advice; you can only give experience shares. And for me, that was a really it was a game changer for me because I think a lot of my life I was giving people advice that didn't really want it, didn't need it. They just needed someone to listen to them. And I've learned as I've gotten older to share experiences, not advice.
And I think that the distinction between those two is so critical. I mean, it may be the same words or the same message that you're trying to convey, but to just be like, hey, this is how I solved when I faced that problem. Mm-hmm. But it's not the best solution. Sure. And you're humble enough to do it. So gentlemen, what's y'all's superpowers?
Well, I don't know. I think for me personally, just being hospitable and being kind is what I feel like that I love being that way. I love to be nice to people. I love to show kindness to people. And to me, that is, if I have anything at all that I enjoy doing, it's probably that. If I can help somebody at the grocery store, go to their car and unload their car for them, little old lady, I love doing that. Just go out of the way to be nice to somebody. I think that would be what I would say. Maybe mine. I don't know. That's my thoughts on that.
I thought you were going to say your movie references.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. Greg.
That is a good superpower.
I agree.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think I learned a lot of that from him, but I love to serve people, and I love to know that I'm doing a service and helping someone, when I can tell that I've made someone's day better, it just makes me feel great inside. So yeah, that's probably mine too.
Love it. So what gets y'all out of bed and excited about your business?
For me personally, it's to see my 3 sons work in the business alongside me and see them do things better than I ever did them, and just to look at it from a standpoint that, hey, these guys are doing a great job, and be able to tell them that, and just love seeing them be successful, And going on the side note, to me, success has not always been about making money, So success to me was to have a family that loved each other, and your boys to tell you they loved you, and you tell your boys you love them, and to me, that's what it's all about for me. And so that I think that's what makes people successful. That's what made me successful, is to have a family that I love and that loves me. So anyway, that's a little side note. I'll throw it in. So,
that is so true.
Love it.
Yeah.
Joe, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it's all about the people again. I mean, I feel like if we can give people opportunity, that work with us to grow and better their lives, that there's nothing better than that for me, for sure.
Well, gentlemen, y'all have got such a cool story. You've got an amazing company all over Central Texas. How can the Aggie Growth Hacks Network, our family, get in touch with you to support you, to encourage you, maybe even start out as a dishwasher and work their way up?
Go ahead, Joe. You can
we were just saying emails would be great if that works for you guys, if that's a good way to do it. But so my dad's is James Carter at txburger.com. Mine is Joe at carter.enterprises. And then you can send us an email and let us know, how, we'd love to know how we can grow and get better. I mean, I was telling my dad, there's no doubt how many Aggies have eaten with our family, over the years, on I-45 and in East Texas, so I would love to know how we can improve our restaurants, and if you stop in at one of our restaurants, please let us know how we're doing. We want to get that feedback and we want to improve for sure. So
always wanting to improve, always wanting to serve your customers, and going back to Mr. Carter's vision of just like, look, we're going to have a good life, but we're going to serve one another. We're going to make people happy, and we're going to build a family together. So that's so amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks for having us. It's a real honor and pleasure. It's good to see you again, Greg. It's always a pleasure. And nice to meet you too, Chris. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much.
Great to see y'all.
So how about that, Ags? Was that pretty awesome or what? I took a lot of things away from that episode with James and Joe. What were the big things that you took away, Greg?
I think the 2 big things that I took away, one, I mean, just their genuineness, both Mr. Carter and Joe. I mean, they're just so open and really, I mean, what you see is what you get. And I mean that in such a way of a compliment, and to be able to just say, hey, this is who we are, and we want to serve one another and serve our family and do that. But I loved Mr. Carter's hack, or the best advice, I think it was his hack, of learning is a never ending thing. Yeah, I mean, he's 71 and he is still in the business, learning and growing. And so this industry has radically changed in the last 50 years, but he has been successful. I mean, he's been successful during how many economic downturns, during COVID, when, it's some of the most difficult times, especially for restaurant industry. And they've continued to not only grow and thrive, but to be able to provide the stability for their family, both their family and their employees, which I think that he probably would consider them family as well. Yeah. But he had to do that through learning and always improving and and never settling. So I really appreciated that and have kind of taken that to heart. What about you, Chris? What stuck out to you?
So the biggest thing that I kept hearing over and over and over again from Mr. Carter was work hard and treat people right. Right. That's what has led him on his entrepreneurial journey and drives everything that he does. It sounds like, I mean, he sounds like a very caring person. I mean, just even talking with him very briefly, I mean, only 30 minutes. Right. And I mean, I already feel like I know him, like we've known each other for a really long time. Yeah. And I think that's just because his the honesty that comes through with him and just the genuineness, I guess, is where I'm going at here, from him. That's my big takeaway. Right. And I love that. Treat people right and work hard, or work hard and treat people right. Either way. Right.
But that's truth. And that is what he's built his company on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Ags, that's going to do it for this episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we hope that you connect with Carter's Burgers and Carter Enterprises and all the different companies that they have. Please, if you have not reached out to Mr. Carter or to Joe, just to pick their brain, talk about entrepreneurship, maybe to learn about what it's like to be in that business, they do yourself a favor and definitely connect with them. If you're not connected with Aggie Growth Hacks, if you're not connected with Chris and I, we hope that you connect with us. And while you're checking us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, make sure you go over to aggiegrowthhacks.com, where you can hear this episode as well as our previous episodes and some of our other great content.
We want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M University. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship for Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur, head on over to their website now to find a program that's right for you. Just go to aggiegrowthhacks.com/McFerrin Center. Join us next time when we connect with another great Aggie entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks and gig 'em.